Hello, everybody. It is your best friend Justin from J Master Productions. Today, in this video, I wanted to talk real quick about the future generations, more specifically, the financial future of the generations coming up here. Mine and especially the one behind me, but even the generation that's not too much ahead of me, maybe about 10, 15, 20 years ahead. I am actually going to turn 29 this month, and anyone who is around my age, or even if you're just an average working citizen like myself, you know that here in the United States, it is impossible nowadays to make a living. Every dollar you make basically just gets put to bills. You can't save anything. You get taxed half to death. You know the whole deal, and especially if you watch my channel here, you know exactly how I feel about the whole monetary system here in the United States, and you know how I feel about the Federal Reserve. In fact, I know the history about the Federal Reserve and what happened in 1913, which would explain everything as to why the economy, not only in the U.S. but in the world, is trash. Because we run on a debt-based fiat currency system where you just have figures on a screen. The whole system enriches a very small 1% and it enslaves the rest of us. Now, I found this quote here very interesting that I saw on X. If you don't follow me on X, please do. I will leave. Actually, my name's right here, but I will leave the name below if you want to follow me on there. And I found this really interesting and I want to talk about it. And it says from Unusual Whales, which I do follow and I do get a good amount of information from them. They drop some quick facts, which are always very interesting, but something like this. And I've been seeing this a lot lately, that Gen Z has cut down on their efforts at work because they don't think it's worth it if they can't afford long term financial goals. And wow, that really hits home for me because you know what? When it comes to your best friend Justin here, I've been fired from many jobs. I've been in sales for the past 8 years now, 9 years, and things have just not panned out well. I mean, when I was living at home with my parents, yeah, I was obviously making a decent amount of money. Like, I was making like a 50K salary plus commission and all that stuff. I was living at home, so I barely paid any bills. So I was racking up money. And then 4 years ago, it was actually January 2022, I moved into this apartment here and I've been living on my own ever since. And my rent goes up, the price of groceries skyrockets, my insurance goes up, my phone bill goes up, my gym membership goes up, everything. I mean, you name it, it goes up. Nothing gets cheaper. So, with that being said, most people around my age aren't even living on their own. Like, it's not that they aren't, it's just that most people in their 20s, even going into their 30s, are not able to afford to live on their own. Now, a lot of people might say, well, I want to hold out to buy something. But the problem is that with this whole scam of an economy, you're being priced out of existence. I have spoken about this so much throughout my content, but it was in 2025. I remember it was around a year ago that I finally started to understand like why a lot of people in my generation, more so people who lean really far left, why they want communism or socialism. It's really the same shit, but I can finally understand why. And it's because people are seeing through the scam. Like, it's not even a conspiracy, or like most people know that their job is a scam, the way taxes are is a scam. Like, people are aware that, the whole system that we live under is just a giant fraudulent scam that enriches a few and keeps the vast majority of us poor. Now, the issue, okay, all right, great, you can realize it, but people don't do anything about it. People keep feeding the beast because people are bound to the system. People can't really also think of anything else besides the system. People lack the imagination to imagine a better world. And not even just that, people severely lack courage. They lack the fire within them. They lack the ambition to actually go out and try to make change. And it starts with talking about it with people, getting people riled up over it, because this should rile you up. Okay, especially if you're in my generation, this should rile you up. And the reason I'm talking about this particular tweet is because when I read it, I was like, oh, this is completely me, 100%. Like, I don't give a damn about these jobs I work at. I'll be straight up. Like, I do not care. It sucks to get fired. It sucks to take a pay cut because your job fires you or whatever. But you know what? I don't give a shit about these jobs. These jobs, in vice versa, don't give a shit about me. And it's very clear that they don't give a shit about me because they barely pay me any money. Then this whole system that for some reason the people who came before me were okay with taxing their children and stuff. I get taxed half to death. I don't make enough money to save anything. I have enough money to survive, and that's it. And that's most Americans. Most Americans show up to their job day in, day out, a job they hate, work for someone they hate, around people they hate, making themselves miserable because people are bound to the system, right? They need money for food, for water, for shelter, to pay for certain things if they have kids, for school and all that. Now, school is a whole other giant scam, but I'm not even going to get into that right now. Like, I feel this a lot because I don't see a point in working 50 hours a week, paying taxes, doing this for 30, 40 years, and then hope to retire. Because if the retirement age is constantly going up, every few years, what do you think is going to happen when I reach my 60s in 40 years from now, right? When I'm approaching that retirement age, right? What's the retirement age going to be then? 75, 80? You're basically working till the grave. Even working till 65 is nuts, man. It's like, who wants to go up in their mid-60s and still be working the way they were when they were 25? Like, no one wants to do that. People don't want to pay these taxes that not only is illegal because it's stealing your money, but two, it gets used to fund war overseas. It gets used to fund all this bullshit that goes on. And more specifically, what they're not going to tell you your tax money goes to is for psyops, is to invest in making you even more stupid, invest in ways to manipulate you, invest in ways to make your life more hard than it already is. That's what they do with your tax money, okay? And a lot of people realize this. They don't have to be a truther or conspiracy theorist like myself. It's very obvious. And the psychotic part of it is people still think that this system is good. They still believe in it. They want to participate, even though they get paid, again, in fiat currency. So you're not even getting paid in real money. You're getting paid in currency that's devaluing. You're getting paid in paper. You're not getting paid in anything that's tangible. You see, the reason why the bankers have done all these things that they were able to do over centuries is because they've convinced people that these pieces of paper with a number on it has value, but really it has no value. It's all in people's minds. They have this weird belief that this money means something, and people will kill for this money, right? People will screw other people over for this money. Family screws over other family members. Friends screw over friends. Husband and wife screwing each other over, all for money, right? It destroys our lives. That's why in the Bible it says that the love of money is the root of all evil, because you will inevitably do evil things to get money. That's why it says that. And listen, the powers that be in this world, they have all the money in the world. They print money, okay? They own the printing machines. They own the banks. Nations are in debt to them. Your politicians are in debt to them. So they don't care about the laws of this country. They make the laws, and they do it through politicians, which is why I always say politics is fake, because it is fake. It's not real. It's a show, and people get caught up in it. People fight. People get divided over it, right? And it's like these nonstop psyops that go on, and people just cannot see the forest for the trees. People can't realize that Trump, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Kamala Harris, J.D. Vance, Charlie Kirk, all these people are characters to make you believe certain things that aren't necessarily true. They might tell you some things that are true, that might align with what I say even. But when it comes down to it, if you have a belief in government, if you have a belief that politics is real, if you think we need police and military on our streets to keep people sane, you're not awake. That's just the truth. If you don't know the history of the Federal Reserve and these other central banks that have spread about worldwide, you're not really awake. You have a lot of education to do. And again, when it comes down to it, like what it says here, because believe me, like I said, I'm 29, okay? all my friends are around my age. Like, people think they can work around the system. People either have this false belief that, oh, things are just going to get better if we get the right politician in, or they think they can work around it. They think they're going to create some business, or they're going to make passive income for themselves, and they're like going to somehow work around the system and be financially free. But it doesn't work that way, because listen, you could be rich. Yeah, if you're rich right now, let's say you're a millionaire, that will solve a lot of your problems, but it's not going to completely solve everything. You're still enslaved. You still have to pay taxes. You still are going to get tracked and traced with everything that you spend money on, that you say through your social media accounts. You can't escape the digital prison. Your money cannot save you from that. Because again, it all comes down to a belief. If they can make you believe that a piece of paper has value, and like I said, people kill each other over it, people screw each other over it, people work their whole lives just trying to get this paper that loses its value and really has no intrinsic value. If they can get you to believe in a lifestyle like that, they can get you to believe that a digital ID is for the greater good. They can get you to believe that face scanning and a surveillance and police state is for the greater good. They can get you to believe that casting people out, someone like me who speaks against Big Brother and both political sides, that someone like me is dangerous, someone like me is a domestic terrorist, I should be put in jail. They can convince people of anything over time at this point through psychological conditioning, through these fake stories that will come out about someone like me, or how, oh, we need a digital ID, we need surveillance because, we can't trust each other, and there's all these illegal immigrants, and this person is motivated politically and they want to do harm to the other side, and this person is jealous of America's freedom, so they might be a terrorist. We need all this surveillance, and we need to know exactly everything that's going on in everyone's lives 24/7, what they say on social media, what they say in the privacy of their own home, what they're texting about with their friends, what they're talking about on the phone, what they're eating even, everything. They want to know everything about you. And these things aren't because the government cares about you. It's because it's an invasion of privacy and they want full control over your life, over your kid's life. They don't want you to have freedom of thought or freedom of expression. They want you suppressed. Okay? They want you being dumb. They want you ignorant. They want you thinking that Big Brother, the government, is your friend and they're here to help. They want you thinking that a politician is going to save the day. They want you thinking and having a false belief that you can work around the system and be financially free and believe in these jobs and get yourself in debt from college and then go to a 9-to-5 job, make $40K, and get trapped in that hamster wheel for the rest of your life. That's what they want. And then they want you distracted with sports, going out to the bar with your friends, all these distractions, doom scrolling on social media, right? All this meaningless entertainment. Not that entertainment is bad, but, it's just constant entertainment and stimulation and dopamine hits at this point for my generation and especially younger. So, I tweeted back, totally agree. And then I just want to go real quick speak real quick on some of the responses that were said here. When you're choosing rent and groceries, quote unquote, going above and beyond, end quote, for a 3% annual raise feels like a scam. And this is exactly what I'm saying. I don't give a shit about these jobs because they don't give a shit about me. It doesn't matter if I do well 1 year, 2 years. If in my third year I have one bad month, because again, I'm in sales, they're going to fire me. They like I'm just a number, right? Like they don't care. You're not going to get a raise. I think the annual income is anywhere from 40 to 60K in the United States, and you cannot make a living off that. You basically need to make 100K, even if you're a household of one, to live comfortably. And if you have a wife and kids, if you don't make 200K, at least you're not going to live comfortably. I mean, and then there's the whole thing with the benefits and getting help from the government and how they trap people like this because if you make more money, you might not qualify for certain government benefits that in the long run, even though you making more income is actually a detriment to you, because if you're trying to just get benefits on your own as opposed to help from the government, then over time, even though your income increase, your expenses increase. So it's called the valley of death. It's a scam. That's why a lot of people don't even want to make more money or make more income because they're going to lose certain benefits that they might have. and they're actually saving money by that. But the point is that the government is making you reliant on them. If you're reliant on the government, you're screwed because these people control your lives. And if the government is controlling your life or getting involved, it has nothing to do with producing anything good in your life, and it has everything to do with taking away your freedom. That's what it all has to do with, okay? So then, of course, you have a boomer here, because obviously his name is Dad is Fire, and, well, look at what he says here. Wait a minute. So the generation raised on instant gratification isn't thinking long term. Obviously, you're referring to my generation. Listen, I agree. A lot of people in my generation are spoiled, right? A lot of us have that soft mentality where all of us, should get fair chances, this and that, which is true. We should all get fair chances, but life isn't always fair. Okay, we can't always control the hand or the cards we were dealt with from when we were born. Some of us are just more unfortunate or more lucky than others. That's life. And what this guy doesn't understand, what anyone who says stuff like this doesn't understand, a boomer or whatever, is that they could have been a bagger at a grocery store and owned a home. Most people, decades ago, were homeowners by the time they were my age. Now that's not the case. I don't know what the average age is, but I think it's in 40s, even going into the 50s, the average home buyer nowadays. This is what this generation just does not understand. They don't know what it's like to work and still have no money. Because when you work, like I said earlier, if you're paying bills like me, if you're, being a man, being a real man or real woman, whatever, and you're paying bills, you know that once you get paid, all your money goes to your bills and you don't have much left over. There's barely any left for you to save. There's barely any left for you to invest, right? There's barely any for you left just to do some fun stuff that you want to do in your life, like do things for fun, like maybe go out to dinner with your friends or take a vacation or just do stuff in general, that because everything costs money, So, this generation, the boomers, did absolutely nothing to help wake people up. I shouldn't say all, but this generation just allowed so much bullshit to happen when it comes to, allowing the Federal Reserve to keep printing money, taking us off the gold standard, allowing the education system and medical industry to get so corrupt and out of hand, allowing these politicians to fool them and make them think that they're on their team when they're really not, all these terrorist attacks that's happened when it's really a false flag and they fall for all the scams. They allowed the government to sign the Patriot Act, right? People of more modern times, they allowed COVID and all that bullshit to happen. And again, it's not everyone, but it's the vast majority of people. So this generation really needs to wake the hell up and stop thinking about themselves, because you know what? I don't give a shit what any of these older people did when they were my age or how shit was when they were my age. This is 2026. We're not in the 80s anymore. This is 2026. I'm talking about problems of today, not problems of the 1980s. Look at what's going on. I also want to show you guys something that kind of goes hand in hand with this. You see the price of silver and gold right here? I mean, this just went up like $10, I believe, because when I looked at it yesterday or 2 days ago, it was 79. Now it's 89. Gold too. It's over 4,600. I was a big precious metals investor. I haven't invested in some years, but I have a good amount, of gold and silver especially. And my God, I mean, what I paid for it at the time, I think because it was like 2019, 2020, a little bit of 2021, I did mainly the investing into it. And, my whatever I paid, it's triple now. I think in total, I only paid about 8 to 10 grand, if I'm not mistaken. And now everything that I have, it's worth upwards of almost 30 grand, because that's how much gold and silver has gone up. When I was investing in gold, it was only like 1,000. And when I was investing in silver, I believe that the price was around 25. So, it's gone up tremendously. And it's good for me because obviously I have a ton of precious metals that are tangible assets that I own. And it benefits me in the long run. But this is bad because this means that the dollar is severely weak. It's on life support. The economy is bad. That's why these gold and silver prices have rose up tremendously, especially in 2025, and it's already rising up a lot in 2026. It's good for the precious metals investors, but it's not good for the economy. This means something bad is coming. This means the dollar is going to crash. Everything's going to crash. Been warning about this for a long time. So my question to all these boomers and people like that have all their assets and their investments in fiat currency, money, something that's not real, something that's not tangible. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do when you're in your 60s and everything you worked for goes down the shitter because you thought that the U.S. dollar was forever and ever going to be the world currency, but you had to find out the hard way that that's not the case because everything crashes. Now you lose everything. There's going to be some sort of new currency that gets introduced, whether it be digital or whether it be a social credit score system or universal basic income. Who knows? But we know that we're headed that direction because corporations, because billionaires are telling us that. And billionaires, corporations, go hand in hand with your government and they run the show. They're the elite. They're the elite. They are that 1% that controls the 99%. So this guy goes on to say in the tweet, in a response to one of the tweets, is makes a lot of sense. They were sold a lie. They did everything right, but nothing went right for them, and that's true. Like most people I know, I didn't graduate college, but most people I know graduated college, and I'll be the first to tell you that all college did for all of my friends and most people I know was get them in debt. It didn't give them direction. It didn't help them find the right career path. All it did was give them debt. And then maybe they have some fun memories of drinking and partying, but that's all it did. A lot of us, we're doing these entry level jobs where, you get paid 40, 50K and you don't get a pay increase. Maybe if they work there for 5 or 10 years, they'll get a pay increase or maybe a couple pizza parties during those years. But I mean, it's corporate greed. These corporations are sucking the wealth away from all of us. The bankers, the elite, they sucked. I shouldn't say they are. They sucked all the wealth away from us and enriched themselves and left us with nothing. And then this person says here, how do you reach long-term financial goals then? And you see, this is the problem. Probably an older person, maybe it's younger, I don't know. But people are thinking about these financial goals like retirement and all these things. I mean, are you kidding me? If you're in your 20s or your 30s or something, you really think you're going to get to that point of retirement? This system is going to come crashing down way before you ever even are going to think about retiring. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but it's coming. You can't keep printing money out of nothing and causing inflation and prices to rise. There's consequences. It's going to keep devaluing the dollar until it's just not worth anything. And people don't seem to understand this. You can't fix this. A politician can't fix this. We need to stop believing in the system. We need to stop feeding the beast. You need to stop being ignorant and educate yourself and understand what's taking place. Like when it comes to get gold and silver, like it's one of the best decisions I made in my life is investing in gold and silver because it's basically tripled in its value since I started investing in it. And if my suggestion to people out there, I know gold is a lot of money. If you have the money to invest in precious metals of any sort, go ahead and do it. Silver is still very cheap compared to what it might jump up to. I know $89 an ounce, it's still a significant amount, but my God, if you have money and you can maybe invest here and there and even just an ounce of silver every week, that's 52 ounces you'll have in 1 year, and that's going to go up tremendously from what it is now, and it's going to be worth a lot. So, not that gold and silver or precious metals is going to stop what's coming at all or anything really, but it's just to have a protection. You always have to be prepared for what's coming because it could happen any day, the financial crash or whatever happens, another COVID situation, another terrorist attack that changes everything, weather warfare, who knows? But you have to be ready. You have to be prepared. You can't be ignorant. And you can't be thinking about these worldly things because I know it's so easy to get caught up in the world because maybe you're around your friends, your family, your significant other, your neighbors, your community is so wrapped up in the world that it's easy for you to start worrying about things. But these things don't really matter. Like, as I said in the very beginning of this, right, with this tweet, how, and I keep seeing it around, how Gen Z, they cut down efforts at work because they don't think it's worth it if we can't afford long-term financial goals. And I totally agree with it because it's just like I don't care. I don't want to work these jobs. I don't like any of these jobs. I've never had a job that I like. The only job I like doing is making content like this, and I don't even get paid for it. But this is my point: is any job I'm gonna do I don't like. I'm only there because I need to make fiat currency for food, for water, to pay my bills, right? And that can be said for most people, but I know I'm not motivated at these jobs because there's no way in hell I can ever afford to buy a home. I live in New Jersey. The average home here is 500K. No one can afford that around my age. People, I can barely, groceries, a household of one, my God, I spend like $200, like maybe every 2-3 weeks, $200, like it's crazy. And everything else, my car insurance went up this year, phone bill went up, gym membership went up, every freaking thing. And then just to do things for fun, it costs money. You know, your car, to drive it around, you got to pay for the gas and all that stuff. You want to get food somewhere now, even if you get McDonald's for two people, it's like $20 now. Like, it's crazy, man. So let me know what you guys think. I know I rambled on a lot here. I went, oh my God, over 25 minutes. So let me know what you guys think. Like the video, subscribe, share it around, and of course, drop your thoughts on everything I just said and what you think. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week.